Hey everyone, welcome to another foiled episode. Today, another foiled deck that I'll be sharing with you. This is Sultai Tarmohawk. I went through 3 different Tarmohawk decks. Tarmohawk was something I think was very creative of me to come up with, but that's just me tooting my own horn. So Tarmohawk is essentially a bunch of decks that use Nighthawk, Scavenger, and Tarmogoyf. And yeah, you build decks around these 2 cards essentially with the help of Thieves Guild Enforcer. When I saw Nighthawk, Scavenger spoiled in Zendikar Rising, I got so excited because, you know, Delver of Secrets is one of my top 2 favorite Magic cards in Magic, or at least top 2 creatures in Magic, and Tarmogoyf, shares a spot with it at the top. And when I saw Nighthawk Scavenger printed, I was like, all right, listen. It's not Tarmogoyf. It is 3 mana. It's an extra mana, and it's only looking in your opponent's graveyard, not your graveyard. But you know what? We can make it work because at the end of the day, it's a flying Death Touch lifelink creature. It starts off as a 1/3, and almost certainly, especially in Modern, against most decks, it's going to be a 3/3 or a 4/3. And you know what? A 3/3 and a 4/3 flyer with flying Death Touch and lifelink in Modern. That's no joke. So let's take a look at the foils. This is what we do in this series. We take a look at foiled cards in different ways. I either have a mail day, or I share a foiled deck with you, or I open up foiled sealed product like collector's boosters, whatever it may be. Every Wednesday, we have another foiled episode. So Nighthawk Scavenger, this Zendikar Rising era is where the foils started to get pretty bad. Luckily, my copies of Nighthawk Scavenger are not that bad. There's no fogging, which is always good. Very nice foiling for a card like this, where it's dark and the colors are kind of faded and molded together, but still very nice foiling overall. I'll put a link in the description to the actual deck tech for this particular video. There was Sultai Tarmohawk. I believe I had a Jun Tarmohawk. And I had one more Tarmohawk deck that I posted as well, using a different set of colors. It was black, green, white. Right. Black, green, white. Abzan Tarmohawk. Those were all fun decks to play. I think Sultai was the most fun I had. Jun coming in as a close second. Thieves Guild Enforcer is just great because it mills your opponent. It's a rogue. Vampire Nighthawk Scavenger is also a rogue, so they work together as well. When another Thieves Guild Enforcer comes to the battlefield, it'll mill twice. Of course, if Nighthawk Scavenger comes into the battlefield, it'll mill again. So very nice synergy there in helping both Thieves Guild Enforcer and Nighthawk Scavenger grow. Just a really cool card. I was also very excited when I saw Thieves Guild Enforcer swollen M21. Just an awesome creature. I was so happy I was able to build 3 decks overall with her in it in the Tarmohawk series. And then, of course, you come to the OG creature that grows with graveyards, Tarmogoyf. Beautiful. Just beautiful. It took a while for me to warm up to this version of Tarmogoyf. And I think I probably still prefer the Modern Masters version. But you know what? This one's not that bad. I like it. The foiling is decent as well. Considering the foiling for this set was very hit and miss for some cards. I think a lot of you that have been watching the series for a long time know that I was very disappointed with Noble Hierarch. The foiling on Noble Hierarch, very disappointed. But the foiling on Tarmogoyf, very, very good. And no curling. Just to make a note there. I think I make that note a lot. We're also playing 4 Uros because, it's still legal. 4 Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Very beautiful full art foil. Very, very nice. Of course, we have 4 of them. Uros. What do we have next? Well, let's get to the counterspells. Start with Mana Leak, a very bland Mana Leak. We need a fancy Mana Leak. It's essentially been this art when it comes to foil forever. I think we need a new Mana Leak art. Full art or extended art. I'd like to have a new Mana Leak. That being said, very powerful permission spell in Modern. One of the main go-tos. And you're playing two of them. I love Stubborn Denial. Oh, I love Stubborn Denial. And if you can play it in a deck where it's always going to have Ferocious, or almost always going to have Ferocious trigger, all the better. Stubborn Denial, such a great counterspell. Such a great counterspell. It's a 1 mana counter non-creature spell, essentially. Tarmogoyf, almost always going to be big enough. Nighthawk Scavenger, almost always going to be big enough. Uro, always going to be big, obviously. And just having a 1 mana counterspell in your hand it just allows you to play so efficiently with your resources. So Stubborn Denial, such an awesome card when you can actually play it reliably. Up next, Force of Negation, of course. If I could shove Force of Negation in every deck, I would. It's the best we're going to get in terms of a free counterspell in Modern. Well, I mean, who knows, maybe in 5 years, 10 years. Who knows what the power level will be. But for this foreseeable future, this is essentially as good as you're going to get, as close as you're going to get to Force of Will, essentially, in Modern. This is basically it. Well, Modern Horizons 2 is on the way this year, so that might change. But I don't think so. I don't think Wizards is going to break Modern with an even more powerful counterspell. Up next, Thought Scour. Now, normally, I play Thought Scour to target myself, to build up my graveyard so I can, like, delve for Hooting Mandrills or something. But no, not in this deck. You're almost always certainly going to be targeting your opponent because you want their graveyard to fill up as much as possible, and it's always going to be you drawing the card no matter who you target. So Thought Scour works really well in this deck and what this deck is trying to do. But of course, if for whatever reason you need to fill up your deck to cast Uro a bit more early, then you could always target yourself if necessary. Thought Scour, another card that needs another printing, another artwork. Up next, Serum Visions. Getting into the cantrips here. Love the art. Was not a fan of the foiling. Feel like the foiling could have been better. Bit too faded. You don't see that in the camera. In the camera, it looks fantastic. This is what I thought it would look like, but then I lean over and I actually look closely and I'm like, oh no, it's actually a bit faded. But whatever. I mean, at this point, as foil collectors, we kind of just get used to that. That the foils are not going to be consistent from Wizards. Speaking of foiling and how disastrous it can be, let's look at Drown in the Lock here. Oh my man, look at Drown in the Lock. Look at it. Just look at it. You know what? On camera, it doesn't look that bad. But in real life, you're basically looking at a hand, some leaves, I guess, and just some colors that are faded in the background. When I first got Drown in the Lock, I thought I got like a misprint. I mean, I know what they were trying to do here, so A for effort, but I just feel like it fails overall. They could have done something else. They were trying, I'm sure they're never going to try that again. We're playing 2 Drown in the Lock, though. Assassin's Trophy, we're only playing 1 of in the main. It's a great overall removal card. Take note, destroy target permanent. It could be anything. It could be a land. It could be anything you want. Cool. Two Fatal Push for more of the removal package. The crazy foiling from Double Masters. Crazy. And no curling. Double Masters was not that long ago. It means they can do it. They can print foils that don't curl that easy. Last but not least, for the non-land cards, Inquisition of Kozilek, the original. I really do like this art. I'm so happy that the foils no longer cost an insane amount of money. They did at some point several years ago. They just jumped in price before Inquisition was reprinted. They've kind of settled now. So that's when I got them. But I do have price memory, and I remember when these were just ridiculous in terms of cost. Very, very cool. All right, so let's move on to the lands. Starting with the basics, we have a fair amount of basics here. Missing one. Start off with the island. So I really do like these full art basics. The Judge promos, the original full arts, I would say. They were printed in a serious... Well, they weren't printed in a set, I guess, but they were serious cards. They weren't in unhinged or unglued. Then you have a forest, just one, alongside the one island. Nothing special about this one, but I still like it overall. The foreground trees, shrubbery here is not foiled, which is pretty cool. And you got two swamps. Let's take a look at the swamp here. It's kind of dark. Lucky on camera, it really, the camera really shows more than real life. It's kind of funny how the camera's lying. But at least we can take a look at it. Nice selective foiling, I guess, overall. Very, very cool. We're running two swamps. So let's just take a look at all of them here. There we go. And now let's get on to the shocklands. We got a few of them. We got one breeding pool. Very nice breeding pool there. Got all the life growing. It's breeding. It's a breeding pool. I get it. I get it. All right. Another A for effort here. We're trying to be on theme. Then we have an overgrown tomb, which I guess is an overgrown tomb. Not sure this looks like a tomb to me, but... And I mean, actually, what's overgrown exactly? Looks like it just landed. But okay, fine. Fine. We'll just pretend that's on theme. The foiling across all the original expeditions was pretty consistent. Obviously, what's really going to be the differentiating factor is the actual artwork. But Watery Grave is probably top 3 best art, at least because of the foiling, in my opinion. You don't see that much here, ironically. Usually the camera shows more. Here it's showing less. Very nice purple foiling, purple-blue foiling. I'm a sucker for purple-blue foiling. Looks very, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, it's very funny how some foils react in camera. So there's your 2. And last but not least, we're going to get to the fetches, starting with Verdant Catacombs. There we go. Good old Verdant Catacombs. I guess that's a catacomb. Pretty decent. We're running 4 of these. There you go. 4. And we're running 2 Misties. Again, I mentioned this before in other videos. I do like the Misty Rainforest art. It goes well with the foiling. Very nice color choices here. Running 2 of those. And I guess since we're getting to the end here, I should explain why I even have this deck in foil. First of all, I love this deck, so why not? Second of all, as part of a promise on this channel, I kind of repeat this a lot, so for your longtime viewers, you've probably heard this a million times, but every time I deck tech a modern deck, at least on this channel, I assure you that I own the deck in paper. And that's my way of telling you, by the way, Pluto Delta is beautiful, just beautiful. That's my way of telling you that I'm not just deck teching a deck for the sake of content. Yeah, I mean, yes, I do want content. That's why I'm deck teching a deck, but I'm also deck teching it because I believe the deck should be played. It's fun to play. It's competitive to a degree, and I say that in the deck techs, how competitive I feel they are. But, you know, me buying the cards and owning the cards physically is also my way of saying, hey, I'm serious about this to the point where I'm willing to spend my money, you know, put my money where my mouth is, essentially, and say, I'm serious about the deck, try it out. I put a lot of effort into trying to share the deck with you. I think you could have fun with it if it's the type of thing that you want to be doing in Modern. So, you know, Sultai Tarmohawk was really, really fun to play. It was just an awesome deck. I'm definitely going to revisit the Tarmohawk series, most likely this year. You know, update it with new cards, potentially. Let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know what you thought about the foils that you saw in this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content in general, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All that stuff really helps me out a lot, helps spread the word, helps, you know, help the algorithms find my channel. You know, it also helps your other content creators that are also not that big. So, you know, keep that in mind. Simple clicks for you, but it means a lot to us. Plus, I do a lot of giveaways on this channel. So if you, you know, want to be informed about those giveaways, you need to be following me on Twitter at least. And subscribe to me on YouTube, because those are the requirements to enter the giveaways. If you want to support me a bit more and join my Patreon and join the ever-growing Patreon community there, check out the link in the description of this video. I have some cool tiers set up where I essentially give you back some of your money at the end of every year in the form of magic cards. So I think that's pretty cool. I think I've gotten some good feedback already from my existing patrons. So check that out. Thanks, and have a good one.